Findings from the 2008 National Transgender Discrimination Study revealed that 45% of 18 to 24-year-old transgender people have attempted suicide in their lifetimes. And this is according to the article Transgender Adolescent Suicide Behavior by Russell B. Toomey, Amy K. Serviston, Mara Shramko, and published by Pediatrics, the official journal of the American Academy of Pediatrics on September 11, 2018. According to the article, How Many People Are Gay?, published by the Williams Institute, also known as the UCLA School of Law, published in April 2011, using information from 4 recent national and 2 state-level population-based surveys. They suggest that roughly 9 million Americans identify as part of the LGBT community. In each of our lifetimes, we spend, on average, over a decade in school. How many of you all have felt like you are the black sheep, or like you constantly have a target on your back for just for being who you are? I imagine what it's like to feel that way every day you go to school. 5 days a week, 8-hour days where you are told that diversity is valued, and yet you feel like the opposite is the truth. That is the reality for many young students in school today. I believe I'm able to stand up here in front of you all today and inform you on this topic due to the fact that I am a transgender man, and therefore I have experienced firsthand the need for not only more awareness of the LGBT community in the education system, but also more understanding. I hope that I can help you see that the LGBT community needs to be more integrated into the education system in order to better protect and significantly better the lives of students and or staff that may be part of the LGBT community. First, I will discuss the harsh realities that LGBT students currently face. Then I will talk about the causes of these issues, and lastly, I will talk about what everyone can do to make others feel genuinely safe and acknowledged. There's always a variety of people coming from all different walks of life, and yet many environments like schools, while they claim to support these minorities, fail to do just that. Many LGBT students are subject to horrific discrimination and violence on sometimes a daily basis at school, and as a result, their likelihood for a successful future suffers. Nearly 18% of lesbian, gay, and bisexual students reported having been raped at some point in their lives, more than 3 times the rate of straight students. They are twice as likely to be bullied and more than twice as likely to stay at home from school to avoid violence. Almost 30% have attempted suicide, which is more than 4 times as likely when compared to the rate for straight students. And 60% of LGBT students report feeling sad or hopeless, which is twice the rate of their straight peers. They also report using hard drugs more often. For example, 6% report using heroin at least once, and 5% report injecting a drug intravenously, which is 4 and 5 times the rate of their non-LGBT students. This is all according to the article. A teen health survey crucial to U.S. public policy is finally asking kids about their sexual orientation, written by Zoe Schlanger on June 25th, 2017, published by QZ.com. There is now a large amount of research that has shined light on the various risks targeting LGBT students' overall health and safety. According to the article, going beyond gay-straight alliances to make schools safe for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender students, published by Pat Griffin and Matthew L. Ouellette, published by the Policy Journal of the Institute for Gay and Lesbian Strategic Studies in March 2002, Volume 6, Issue 1. The risks range from a failure to thrive, that can physical violence that can result, and in the worst-case scenario, potentially even death. Studies extracted from the government's Youth Risk Behavior Survey clearly established that LGBT youth suffer horrific discrimination that has led and will lead to consideration of suicide. Being required to go by law to an environment which not only damages a student's mental health, but also potentially their physical health, is guaranteed to ruin a child's outlook on life in general, as well as maybe even become their untimely cause of death. Now that I've gone and discussed the tragic yet very real experiences LGBT students face, let's move forward into talking about the causes of these pressing issues. The causes of this discrimination and violence is normalized and encouraged through aspects of gendered and cultural socialization. According to the article, Notes on the Sociology of Bullying, Young Men's Homophobia as Gender Socialization, evidence overwhelmingly indicates that this form of harassment is gendered. Homophobic language and attitudes are disproportionately deployed by boys. 90% of school shootings have involved non-LGBT students who have been subject to homophobic remarks on a consistent basis. That stat alone helps to indicate that homophobia and homophobic language are an integral part of shaping contemporary heterosexual masculine identities. According to data extracted from a survey involving almost 900 junior high as well as high school students, 57% report hearing homophobic remarks at school. 69% of LGBT youth in grades 7 through 12 report feeling unsafe in their schools, and 31% reported they missed at least one day of school in the past month because they felt unsafe. According to Chapter 8, this is all according to Chapter 8, The School Climate for Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Students by Stephen T. Russell and Jennifer K. McGuire of the book Toward Positive Youth Development, Transforming Schools and Community Programs, published by Oxford University in 2008. The reason for the incredibly damaging discrimination that LGBT students face is back to the normalization of bullying as a form of normal socialization experience that all students must go through. After bringing awareness to the discrimination and violence LGBT students face, as well as the causes for it, let's move finally into a more positive direction and discuss what all of you can do to help the LGBT community feel safe with you. It is actually quite simple and easy to create a welcoming environment for the LGBT community, yet it's not frequently implemented because very few people are actually educated on the community itself. According to the article, 5 Ways to Make Classrooms More Inclusive by Jenny Bruden, published by NPR on October 26, 2018, you should ask students to fill out index cards with their preferred name and pronouns, and if necessary, provide a substitute teacher with all the students' preferred names on it. It's also important to avoid using gendered language to address people. If there are all gender bathrooms, make sure students know where they are and that they are for everyone. A few more simple things that can be done include making your ally status known by hanging a rainbow flag, sharing your pronouns, and/or supporting the school's LGBT groups. When NPR interviewed in the same article as previously stated, a recent Denver high school graduate, a student named Coulter, who identifies as gender fluid, Coulter explained that teachers know it can be uncomfortable to intervene, but don't fear that. Go for it, please. Your role as an authoritative figure means that you can save someone's life. These comments are the little things that build up over time, and you have to, as a teacher, say, no, we don't talk like that in my classroom. When your classroom is a place where a student doesn't get bullied for an hour out of the day, that is so important. You can and will save students' lives if you just remember to check your privilege and educate yourself on those different from you. Now that I've told you all that I can about this social injustice, I hope that I've convinced you to be more aware of those around you and what language and actions you use to interact with others. So first, I discussed the harsh realities that LGBT students currently face. Then I talked about the causes of these issues, and lastly, I talked about what everyone can do to make others feel genuinely safe and acknowledged. I hope that I helped you see that the LGBT community needs to be more integrated into the education system in order to better protect and significantly better the lives of students and/or staff that may be part of the LGBT community. I never would have done this topic and been so open about who I am as a person with all of you if I did not feel safe inside this classroom.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry.
I know. Too late.
Okay, so questioning time begins now.
Okay, great speech. Good job. So in an article from the National Association of Independent Schools by Olaf Jorgensen, he says that the single greatest obstacle to implementing curricular change and establishing a culture that values continuous reflection and improvement in the school is the general predisposition of educators to resist change itself. And basically the issue is that there are a lot of private schools in America, and altering their curriculum seems very challenging, considering the political stance they uphold. So what would you propose for improving these schools, which about 10% of students in the country attend?
Well, for this, I think that what I first thought of is a lot of private schools, and a lot of private schools have religious backgrounds. So what you can do is you can have, if it gets to it, if worst case scenario, you can actually get the law involved. For example, after the Ontario Legislative Assembly passed Bill 13 into law on June 5th, 2012, the ACBO released a concession statement to the press attesting that Ontario Catholic high schools will abide by the Accepting Schools Act, requiring them to allow GSA-type clubs and other LGBT-affirming programs in their campuses. Another thing you can also do is you can have schools engage in activities and events dedicated to just having a general type of be nicer to each other, type of like a kindness week type of thing. And in the same article, they said what this school did was they launched Kindness Matters campaign, even though they acknowledged that the official Catholic doctrine has historically not been kind to persons with same-sex attractions. They also recognized that more Catholics over time have made conscious efforts to be kind to LGBT individuals in their communities, and that kindness is a value that many Catholics embrace. As one student described the initiative, it involves kindness to everybody, no matter their religion, race, sexual orientation, or etc. This was written by Renato M. Libero, Rob Travers, and Alex St. John from the article Beyond the Dialectics and Polemics, Canadian Catholic Schools Addressing LGBT Youth Issues, published in '98.
Andrew, speak up on the next question so we can all
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So one thing I think almost everyone can agree on is that our education system has a plethora of issues plaguing it at the moment, particularly in regards to the allocation of funding for both the students and teachers. According to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, on average, school districts spend about $11,000 per student each year. The highest poverty districts receive an average of $1,200 less per child than the least poor districts, while the districts serving the largest amount of students of color get around $2,000 less than those serving the fewest students of color. With these issues in mind, do you think that addressing LGBTQ visibility or inclusivity should take precedence over other concerns?
Students who attend schools that have student-led clubs like Gay Straight Alliances are more likely to report safety for gender nonconforming and LGBT youth. The presence of a GSA is associated with fewer reports of victimization and better academic and health outcomes for all students. According to Slovakia, GSAs have the more salient influence on school climate for gender nonconforming and LGBT students. Furthermore, others have shown the presence of a GSA is associated with a safe school climate for all students. So not only are we going to better protect LGBT students by making schools more inclusive, but we will also help protect students that are part of other minority groups, as showing support for one minority group demands support for others. This is based off an article written by Russell B. Toomey, Jennifer K. McGuire, and Stephen T. Russell.